Hello and welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and as you probably know if you follow my channel, I've been struggling with cotton candy algae in my frag tanks. It's that red fluffy algae. It's relatively rare in the aquarium hobby, but when you get it, it's really hard to get rid of. Now, there is a solution for it. Normally people will just put Mexican turbo snails in the tank. The bad news is, for the last couple months, Mexican turbo snails have been out of season. Well, they've been finally back online, and I usually, when I buy a big cleanup crew, I'll go to Live Aquaria and do their build your own cleanup crew pack because it's $75 and then it's free shipping, so it's really easy. So I put my order in, got a bunch of turbo snails, a bunch of other stuff you'll see in a little bit, and I had all the plans in the world to start doing some big tank maintenance today. So yesterday, when I'm out with the wife and the kid Pokemoning, the car overheats. So now I have to work on my vehicles and acclimate my coral, and I'm not going to get all my maintenance done. So I got up at 8 a.m., went out, started working on the car, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. So while I'm doing this, I'm waiting for the corals to arrive. About 9 o'clock, corals show up, so it's time to acclimate. I started the acclimation by just floating the bags. The box came in without a heat pack in it, and the water in it was relatively cold. In my part of the country right now, we're going with lows of about 30 degrees all the way up to highs of mid-70s. So it's probably kind of a hard time to ship because you don't know if it's going to be cold or hot outside. But anyways, I thought I'd start slow on acclimating these guys to temperature. So while I'm acclimating, I go ahead and head outside and start working on the vehicles. I was pretty anal about trying to keep the grease off of my hands. The bad news is the Jeep was worse than I thought. So then I had to go get my old Mercedes running because the battery had died on it so that I could go to the parts store and buy parts. So I get back from the parts store, I put everybody in buckets, and I was so busy triple tasking that I didn't get video of it. But basically, I put everybody in the buckets and started the acclimation. While I was acclimating, I started cleaning the frag tank. My goal with this cleaning was to siphon out as much of that red hair algae as I possibly could. The more I get out of there, the less my cleanup crew is going to have to do. After I was done siphoning, the tank looks better, but there's still a lot of cotton candy algae in there. And this is why I'm going for the cleanup crew. I've lost this battle trying to defeat the cotton candy algae without Mexican turbo snails. So now that the acclimation is complete, it's time to put everybody in the tank. So I thought I'd talk about what I bought and why. So let's start with the Mexican turbo snails. These are the most important. These guys have a solid reputation for eating the cotton candy algae. A lot of other snails won't touch it, but these guys absolutely will. In the past, I've shied away from Mexican turbo snails. These guys come from a part of the world that has colder waters than our reef tank runs, so they don't have a great survivability rate in the reef tank. But since it's the only great snail for eating cotton candy algae, I had to go with them. Next up are Astraea snails. Now, Astraea snails have the problem that they can't right themselves. So if they fall over, they can die, or your hermit crab's going to kill them and steal the shell because they can't right themselves. But I've got quite a few of these in my 210-gallon display upstairs, and I've got no cotton candy algae out there. And I can only imagine that the Astraea snails are the reason there isn't cotton candy algae in my display upstairs. Something's keeping it mowed down. On to the Trochus snails. Trochus snails, in my opinion, are one of the best all-around snails you can buy. They'll eat most algae, although I've had bad luck with these guys eating the cotton candy algae. They're still a great addition to the cleanup crew. They eat a lot of different types of algae, and these guys will also right themselves. So they do really well in your reef tank, and they have a good survivability rate. So I highly recommend Trochus snails. And finally, I added 4 emerald crabs. These guys do really good with bubble algae, and I have a small amount in my 210-gallon display. So I put these guys in the 210 to battle the bubble algae. So I got everybody in the tank, and it's back to working on the cars. So I didn't get the work done. I have other stuff that has to get done, and in the future I'll update you on how all this works out. Do I defeat the cotton candy algae? I don't know. We'll find out. Now, how about the car? Well, the radiator's shot on the Jeep. Ugh. So, I bought parts. They're coming in the mail. And next weekend, I get to work on a new radiator in my Jeep. I wonder what my wife would think about driving an old Volkswagen Beetle. They don't have radiators. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode of Mile High Reefers. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.